cutting off heads was a more labor-intensive task than the movies made it out to be, but my sword was very sharp and very well made, so I got through them all without too many curses slipping out. After destroying another jacket by cleaning the sword as best I could, the slight burning sensation on my skin forced me to glance down at myself. I really needed to find a good rubber suit, but frankly, I just didn't want to wear a giant condom every day. So very messy, beheading was my least favorite part of the job. Both my weapons and I would need a thorough cleaning once I made it home, but until then I would have to make do. Demon blood was difficult to get out once it dried, and it was slightly caustic to others. Stepping into the disgusting half-bathroom, I washed my hands and face free of the blood splatter. My next task on this never-ending night was to find some information, so I dragged myself over to their makeshift office. It was my own fault I was exhausted. I should have just let the two Apple morons go, but being far too nosy for my own good, I popped home, geared up, and started to investigate the meeting place one had so helpfully provided. When I had arrived at the old warehouse, the first thing I noticed was a murder of crows turning a lone leafless tree blacker than the night itself. The area was silent as they whipped their heads around to watch me. I felt their eyes on me as I snuck inside the rusted building and saw the number of demons chatting. My nose wrinkled at the smell of the must of an unused building, damp cardboard, and the slight sulfur smell coming from the demons. The warehouse sat mostly empty, but it still had the metal shelving units that sat in rows on one side of the building. There wasn't much to hide behind, so I chose to pop onto the top of one of the shelves and watch the group of at least 15 demons sitting around like it was an AA meeting. Demons really did not do well in large groups. There was always too much posturing, too many grudges from centuries past, and too many chances to get stabbed in the back. It usually ended in a massacre. To have seen them calmly discussing things like they were humans at a book club meeting? Let's just say it piqued my interest. So I sat in the shadows, high above their heads, listening and watching. I managed to get some juicy gossip about some of the local demons before they discussed how to bring them into the group, using any means necessary. Pretty standard wannabe leader stuff, until they mentioned the name Shadow Dragon. It was not a name I recognized, but by the tone of their voice, filled with a combination of fear and awe, I knew I needed to figure out who this new player was. It certainly had my asshole radar pinging. As my luck would have it, one of the weaselly-looking cunts caught my scent somehow and began drawing in deep breaths. I could do many things, but going scent-free wasn't one of them. It was clear he had pinpointed me when he glanced up and started screaming like a lunatic. Seriously, he sounded crazy, going on about shadows and making unintelligible grunts, waving his hands around and shit. Still, the rest of them must have had some faith in his abilities because they all started doing the weird nose-to-the-air thing too and looked my way. Their calm discussion of kidnapping and blackmail suddenly switched to a kill-the-bitch frenzy. Shaking my head, I focused as I entered the office and rifled through everything, taking anything that looked to be of value and tossing it into the bags I found so I could look at them later. Wallets and papers were tossed into the bags, while all of the electronics went into a box I spelled to act as a blocking cage. I had used similar spells before for things that could be tracked, and their phones and laptops fell into that category. After I wrapped up that shit show, I trudged out of the warehouse. Loot in hand, I turned and threw a ball of fire into the old wooden pallets piled up in the docking bay. The faint sound of sirens grew louder as I watched the warehouse catch fire and burn. That was my cue to get the hell out. I was pretty pissed that I had more work than I had planned on. I could feel my face drawn and my muscles tensed. All I wanted was a bit of information and an early night in bed with some red velvet